Auburn is not a place. It is a people. The loveliest village on the plains is more than just a collegiate sports venue, more than a university filled with historic buildings, and more than a quaint little southern town. Its worth lies within its people, those that call Auburn home, whether that be for a single day at a time or a lifetime. Much like our legendary Toomer's oak trees, our stories are the product of a firm foundation laid at the beginning of our Auburn story. These are the stories of the Auburn family. These are their roots. War Eagle Auburn fans, and welcome back to Auburn Roots. This is episode number 10 of this series that we've been doing on the E2C network, sharing and experiencing the stories of your Auburn family members together. So for episode number 10, you gotta do something special. So I searched around, found all these different names of people that I want to interview, and I think tonight I wanted to have this big name out there. Unfortunately, I got stuck with my wife. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually why I saved these special numbers, these special dates for this podcast series for people that are very near and dear to my heart and this network.
So you're saying that I am the 10th most important person in your life?
That's not...
That's what it sounds like to me. Is that I wasn't worthy of places 1 through 9.
I'm going to not dig myself a hole any further here, but let me welcome my guest for episode 10 of Auburn Roots, my wife, the one, the only, the most beautiful girl in the world, Jessica Loomis.
Well, thanks for having me as your number 10.
Did I?
I'm happy to be number 10 in your heart any day.
You're going to let this go for an entire week now, aren't you?
I might.
You have a knack for just letting things linger longer than they should.
Well, we'll see how long it lasts in the show.
You keep lingering around too as well.
Right.
But I'm kind of fond of that, so thank you for not straying away and lingering around here.
I mean, I have been in your life for more than 10 years.
That's true. Has it been? No.
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's rough. Well, this is going to be this is going to be a different interview too, because we're actually doing this in the same room together. Normally I do these over the interwebs, and so now I actually get to look face to face and interact. And
how's that going for you?
Not good. It's not good at all. I'm kind of nervous, actually. I don't know why. I see you every day. I roll over in the morning, there you are. I walk out the door, there's your car. I mean, I know you're here, but for some reason, this is just weird talking to you.
Because normally I don't come in your, studio office. Normally I just let you hang out here.
The man cave.
Right. I don't broach this office. I let it be.
Broach? That's a big word.
I don't even know if I used it correctly, but here we are.
I feel like we're slipping into Tiger Tracks mode here, where we just keep rambling on and taking shots at each other.
Speaking of Tiger Tracks, when you said welcome to Auburn Roots, I was like, no, welcome to Tiger Tracks, because that's what we normally podcast about is Tiger Tracks.
So let me
shameless plug.
Let me use one of my favorite phrases that I do in podcasting. Let me set the table here for those of you that may be listening far off in the future or don't know what we're referring to Tiger Tracks. So Jessica does a podcast for us that's centered around Auburn track and field and cross country. Has been doing that for quite some time.
The best podcast out there.
Yeah, look, I will continue to sing the praises of Tiger Tracks.
It's actually done better than I thought it would, so we'll give it that.
And that is not a testament to me being on it. I am literally there for comedic relief.
Well, I was going to say, or a testament to how exciting it is to listen about running. It's fun to watch running, but listening about running is a whole different ballgame. So I think it's a success because of the two of us.
Not again. I mean this with complete humbleness. I am not the reason that show succeeds.
Wow,
Thank
you. Even though I'm number 10 in your heart, I'm the reason Tiger Tracks succeeds.
We have 3-4 minutes into the show, and you've already brought that back up again. This is going to be a long...
I got you.
Long next 10 years, apparently. Even though we haven't got to year 10 yet. So...
Yes, well, we've been together 10 years. We haven't been married 10 years yet.
Use that Auburn degree. Get the math right. So...
Haters gonna hate.
I'm getting looks over here. All right, well, let's dive right into this.
Okay, let's do it.
I love to find the significant part of the Auburn story for each of my guests here. And I think you have a very important one because I want to let you tell everything that you want to tell about that story. But, we're dealing with coronavirus right now.
Yeah,
and you are a nurse.
Right.
And you have experienced things similar to this in terms of just infectious diseases that were really scary. but you've also just been, the day-to-day nurse and experiencing flu season, crazy things in the ER and things like that. You got your nursing degree from Auburn. I want you to talk a little about that as well. But I also want you to talk about from the perspective of being married to me as an Auburn fan.
If only y'all knew.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
It's intense.
You are, what does they say, putting away treasures in heaven? Is that what the phrase is?
Yeah, I think that's what your mom would say. She keeps telling me that I gain jewels in my crown every day.
Well, I mean, I have nothing to say to that. So I like to kind of start at this place for everybody's Auburn story. Tell me where your Auburn story begins. Does it begin, as I woke up one day and I saw orange and blue, or is it...
That would be good. That would be a very, nice way to tell my story, but no, it doesn't.
Well, why don't you share with us your
So
origins?
my story starts with, unfortunately, a nightmare. Unfortunately for me, I was raised to be a fan of that school across town.
Which one?
The RT school that we don't speak of.
You mean, was it, I say...
The Harvey Updikes?
West Mississippi or East Mississippi, that's what it's called. East Mississippi Sisters of the Poor?
Yeah.
That one.
The Updikes. I was unfortunately raised as one of those. I didn't know any better. I was young. I was dumb. I didn't have my own mind yet. But then one day, in my cross-country times as a student, we had a cross-country meet at Auburn University for a high school team. And we went, and my cross-country coach was a big Auburn fan, and my best friend was a big Auburn fan. And we went to Auburn, and I was like, whoa, I really like this place. This is kind of cool. And I think I was a sophomore in high school. And I called my mom, and, this was because I'm a dinosaur. This was before cell phones were, a big thing. And I still had one of those Nokia phones that couldn't do anything but, play Snake and call your mom.
Oh, my gosh.
Probably cost me $12 to call my mom, but I called her and I was like, hey, Mom, I think I want to go to Auburn for college. And she was like, okay, we'll talk about that.
Was that your mom speaking or was that your dad speaking?
That was probably more my grandpa speaking.
I was about to say, that's probably where it really
came
from.
So my mom's not really, she couldn't care less. She's just, she likes football. She likes all of the teams. She just wants people to do a good job and not get injured. So it didn't really affect her.
I would say she's more Auburn these days.
Now, because all of her money went to Auburn.
That's true.
Since I went and my brother went to Auburn.
If you're going to throw money at something, you might as well have a fondness for it.
Well, exactly. So that's kind of where my Auburn journey, it's not some glamorous story. It was, hey, I went and ran a cross-country race there. I can't remember how well I did. I need to look that up. I don't remember that race. I don't remember the course. I don't remember anything except that I was walking on Sanford Lawn and I just had this epiphany yep, this is it. And then when, of course, 2 years later or a year and a half later when I applied for colleges, Auburn was the only place I applied. Got in, clearly, since I went to Auburn. And that was where my story began. And one of my best friends from high school, she went to Auburn and we roomed together. And that was the beginning.
Yeah. So let's walk back a little bit before we get into the deep and the best part of your college story, because it might include someone here.
Doubtful.
Let's talk about being an Alabama fan or part of an Alabama family, because you're not the only one that's told their Auburn Roots story here that's had a similar situation.
And then saw the light. But explain to me, from the opposite side of the spectrum. I know you didn't care as much in your younger years, but just give me, what's that like? How do you view Auburn in that type of family? So I grew up with a very divided family. So my family's very interesting. My dad, he actually grew up in Africa. So his side of the family didn't really, they're obviously not into American football. And then when they came back to the United States, they'll jump on the Alabama. Whoops, probably shouldn't say that word on the show. That cuss word bandwagon school.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I let other people do it. I can let you do it.
Well, they, so my dad was a little bit into Alabama, but, he didn't really care. And like I said, my mom just kind of was like, football, yay. But my aunt went to Alabama and my uncle went to Alabama. And then I had an uncle that actually lived in Tuscaloosa or right outside it. So they were all really big Alabama fans. I thought my aunt was the biggest Alabama fan in the world because I was a kid. And she had a couple of Alabama pictures on her wall. And I was like, oh my gosh, she is a major Alabama fan. And she had a couple coffee cups or something that had Alabama. And nobody in my like immediate family had those kind of sports things, which is ironic now being married to Kyle. And we literally have a whole room in our house just dedicated to Auburn. So
one room? Multiple rooms.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying. So like being a quote unquote Alabama fan growing up only meant that during Alabama Auburn Day at school, I wore an Alabama t-shirt. I didn't know anything about it. I went to one Alabama football game, but it was A Day, so I really don't count that. There were like 12 people in the stands. It's not like it is now.
There were 12 people in the stands and only one tooth amongst them all.
Oh! Well, I had more than one tooth, so.
Sorry. I just say it.
So, like, I didn't grow up being this major college fan, whether it be football, basketball, or anything. And, you know, I grew up in North Alabama, so we weren't near a college town either. So it just wasn't a huge deal for me. Now, jokingly, my grandfather told me when I decided to apply to Auburn, he said, "Now, Jessica, I'm not giving you any more money for the rest of your life since you're going to that Cal college." But that was like the extent of the jokes. Once I went to Auburn, it was, you know, it's all fun and games, and it is what it is.
So really, I mean, the passion for college athletics didn't really take hold until you chose one for your own.
Exactly. And I mean, you know this, but I would say I am far, I don't know, I feel like you and I are much more passionate than the majority of my family. I have a couple of aunt and uncles that are really passionate about college football and college sports, but the vast majority of my family is pretty just calm about it, and they don't really care one way or the other. Because I did have 3 cousins that actually went to Alabama, and, you know, I mean, they're really intelligent girls.
And we pray for them every day. But no, I think it's interesting because we talk a lot about, you know, why someone chose to go to Auburn over Alabama, and oftentimes, and I know it's not the same case across the board for our Alabama fans, but you just don't hear these types of stories. I had an epiphany. There was a feeling. Was it maybe like a little bit of rebellion in you? Just wanted to kind of go against the family grain, or was it really just an epiphany?
It was really just an epiphany, and I think you'll see throughout my Auburn journey that the biggest moments in my Auburn life were epiphanies, and it was just like this, okay, this is what God has in store for me. This is where I'm going. And, you know, so I'm one of those people, I make a decision and I don't question it, which is so different from you, obviously. Once I make that decision, I'm not going to go against it. And that kind of is what it is.
Right or wrong.
Hey, that makes me a really good nurse.
Look, I will never, ever question your ability to be an amazing nurse. But when it comes to decisions around this household, sometimes I'm like, I am so glad I'm here to counter that. Let me just say that.
Like what? But anyway, no, we probably shouldn't.
This is not
a marriage podcast.
I was about to say, this is not our therapy session right now.
Okay, so back to Auburn.
Well, you know, again.
So no major fun like life experience. It was just an epiphany.
But I think it's something important to point out, and I did this, I think, on our last episode with Kyle Lawrence, that everybody, I think, assumes that just because their story doesn't have this wow moment of how it began, that doesn't make your Auburn roots any less special. That the fact that you're here is the only thing that matters, and that's why we want to know your story. Well, I'm not just saying that to you.
Really nice.
I said it to everybody here.
Okay, well, again, you could make me feel special since I'm your wife, but
you are always special. You have me, for crying out loud.
Again, you could make me feel special.
Wow.
But that was nice.
I don't know what shot that is. Shot number 3.
There's no, I don't know. It's not like a best-selling novel or anything as to how I came to Auburn. I just was walking on Sanford Lawn, looked up at, Sanford Hall, and was like, yep, this is it.
This is it. Just had a special feeling that you
did.
Never looked back from.
That's right.
So, okay, let's go then to that direction. You come to Auburn. Mm-hmm. You're deciding what you want to be. Tell me about those first couple of years experience, and throughout this whole story, just share any funny moments or just sad moments, anything that is important to you, this story that you want people to know. So
my best friend is a lot braver than I am, which is saying something, because I don't think that she would describe herself as brave, but in the real world, she's much braver than I am. And she was like, let's live in a dorm and let's get that dorm experience. And I was like, okay, that sounds fine. So she and I lived in this dorm our freshman year. We lived in Hall M, the one dorm on Auburn's campus that doesn't have a name, which is so stupid, but okay. We lived in Hall M, and it was horrible. It was like, it probably defined me more than I realized it did. But we had these 2 suite mates that were very interesting. They always locked us out of the bathroom, so we had to
gosh.
have, it was awful. Like, we had to have a screwdriver to get into our bathroom every single day because they would use the restroom and then forget to unlock our side of it. They would go out and party a lot and then forget their keys or lose their keys at the bar and then come wake us up in the middle of the night to let them in. A couple times we left them in the hall because we were annoyed. Our car had to be parked like...
Sorry to whoever that was if you're listening.
No, she's not. Our car had to be parked all the way in, what was it, C deck or something? It was like the back corner, like way past Mama G's.
Yeah.
Down that road, like way, way, way far away.
It's back behind Wire Road.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where our car was parked, and we lived in Hall M in the village.
Mm-hmm.
The village, is that what that's called? The village?
All right, Grandma, you like...
Right, how
Hey.
long have I been gone? Anyway, so it was a very interesting first year experience because back then, in the olden days, Auburn didn't have like this, they didn't have a cafeteria. They didn't have a lot of food on campus. So Grace and I like had to figure out how to be an adult without a car, how to get food, how to, do all these weird things. So that was a really interesting first year experience. And it's also, that first year of college is a really weird time for kids because if you're not really outgoing, college is kind of hard, like to find your place and to find where you belong and to not just stick with a group of people because they're the first friends you've made at college too. So I ended up, Grace was, like I said, really brave. And she was like, hey, let's go to the Baptist Campus Ministries. They're having like a game night or something. Yeah. So I think our second night there, we were really brave. And we walked all the way across campus, all the way to the BCM. And we just met some people and got free dinner. That was really what got us there.
I mean, honestly, look, most of us have been college students at one time. What gets you anywhere on campus?
Right.
You didn't go to some symposium at the student center just because, you were interested. I mean, some people did. I mean, I will admit that. But free food is what got people to places.
Free food and free t-shirts. We were also all about the free t-shirts, so we had to do less laundry.
That's smart.
It was. She was really smart. She was like, okay, here's our map for the first week. If we go to all of these things, we'll get 6 free t-shirts. And I was like, yes, let's do it.
So you go to the BCM, and that becomes a significant part of life because of what will come up later. But as you're at Auburn, you're trying to decide what you want to do in life. Take me through that little bit of journey before we get into some of the, important things in your journey.
I mean, I feel like figuring out what to do with your life is important.
It is important, but there are certain other important things.
I don't know.
In this room.
I don't know.
That happen later.
I don't know.
Share your education goals there.
So when I started at Auburn, my parents were both teachers, and I was just like, no, I'm going to be an elementary education teacher, and I think that I'll like that, and, I knew what to expect from the outside. Like, I'd seen my parents teach. Obviously, I had never done anything like that. And so I started Auburn, and I was elementary ed, and I was like, okay, this will be great. And then 2 months in, it was Halloween, and my roommate and I decided that we would dress up as doctors from Grey's Anatomy. And we went and, we bought scrubs. I think we went to, Target or something and bought scrubs. And Halloween night, I was wearing these scrubs, and I was like, I really want to wear scrubs every day. I think I want to be a nurse. And it was such a stupid reason to decide to become a nurse. But the next day I called my mom, like most major stories in my life, or let me tell my mom. I called her and I was like, Mom, I think I want to be a nurse. I don't think I want to be a teacher. And I was so nervous to tell her. I'd already told my aunt before I told my mom because I was so nervous. And my mom, in her lovingly supportive way, goes, good. I didn't think you'd ever be a good teacher.
Your mom is brutally honest sometimes.
She's very honest to a fault. But after she said that, she was like, I think you'd make a really good nurse. I think this would be a really good career path for you. So then, 2 months in, I'm changing my major, which is honestly the perfect time to change your major because you've done nothing in school. So went and talked to an advisor. I was so nervous. I even took a career aptitude test, with my advisor. And I was like, am I making the right decision? Am I deciding something that I'm gonna want to change again? Because my goal was to get done in college, as soon as I could. I didn't want to be there 8 years. So I went and I took the aptitude test, and it gave me 4 different options, and nursing was number 1. And I was like, well, I don't know any nurses other than, a distant cousin. I've never worked with a nurse. I've never done anything with medicine, the medical realm, except when I was in high school, I went to this medical camp, and it was really fun. And I was like, well, I guess we're just going to do this and dive in head first.
So back to how you first got connected with Auburn, it wasn't like just a happening and an epiphany. You just walked on San Bernardino. I'm going to go here. I'm going to put on a costume. Hey, I'm going to be a nurse.
That's what I'm saying. Like the two major like epiphanies in my life were like, yep, I'm doing this.
Well, and
I've never looked back. Like
that's one way to go about it.
It is. And I just think that was kind of God's way of saying, this is right. This is how it's going to happen. You're just going to do this. And so
you haven't looked back since, have you?
No, it was like the best decision I've ever made for me personally.
So you are in school now. You've decided that you want to be a nurse. You eventually get into nursing school.
Which, let's talk about that. That is the most stressful, like that's probably top 5 stressful moments of my life was getting into nursing school.
Not actual nursing school, but getting in.
Getting in was, oh my gosh, they put you through the ringer to get in. Mm-hmm. You have to apply. They tell you that only like 40% of people that apply are actually going to get in. You have to go through panel interviews. Like it was so terrible. I will never forget that. It was like so stress inducing. And you're like 20 years old. You're like, you don't even really know what stress is. But even as an adult and even some of the things I've been through, I'm like, yep, that was still more stressful.
So nursing school at Auburn, I've gotten a lot of respect for, not just because it produced you.
Well, thank you.
But because I've seen other nurses that have gone on to do and are currently doing great things, even to this day with what we're dealing right now in our society. But I will sing the praises of any Auburn program, obviously, because I'm a little bit biased.
Right.
But I can say, just from outside looking in, watching you and some other some personal friends that were going through nursing school with you, how much y'all had to work to not just make it through it, but to survive. So I think it's a testament to you guys, but it's also a testament to how rigorous and well prepared Auburn nurses come out of the nursing program.
Well, and that's it. So now, fast forward to current days, I'm a nursing leader. So I'm actually a director of nurses right now. But looking back, so Auburn, when I was in school, so I graduated in 2011, the 6 years and that year, I don't know about the years after, but before that, they had every single student that had passed Auburn nursing school passed their nursing boards on the first try, which is a huge deal. So I don't think people realize that. I've had nurses that I've worked with that didn't pass the first time, and it's not uncommon. That's a super hard test, and it's really stressful. And people don't pass it for one reason or another, probably just nerves. But the fact that Auburn University for 6 years, probably more, had 100% of their students pass on the first try just really is a testament to how well prepared Auburn nurses are.
I witnessed it firsthand, and I will never doubt the amount of effort that had to be put through by you personally, but everybody that goes to the nursing program. And
we all looked a little crazy there for a while, didn't we?
Well, when you're running around the BCM asking random people to stick them with needles so you can, like, what was it you were trying to do? Like, what was you had to do some procedure, like, to
probably just starting an IV.
And like, you're allowed to do that. I'm like, this is like serious stuff I hear. They're allowed to walk around with like take people's blood. I'm like, what's going on
I just
here?
remember, this is so funny, like now being a nurse in the real world. But I remember our first test was how to put on sterile gloves. And I remember everybody was so stressed.
Hey, that's life skills right now, man. So y'all were prepared.
I just remember like sitting in my dorm or my apartment, like putting on these gloves like 100 times, making sure I didn't mess up at all. And then I went to clinicals a couple weeks later, or maybe it was like 6 months later, but I was watching a baby being born and there was a problem. And the doctor was like, everybody needs to glove up right now. And I'm looking at these sterile gloves and I'm like, yes, I know what to do.
You're prepared for today's world right now by that simple test alone that you were able to do.
I can put on sterile gloves like a pro.
So they start from the beginning and they train you into becoming world-class nurses and nursing leaders.
That's right.
And so that's why I think you and I both praise the Auburn nursing program when we can. We're not just saying that because we have orange and blue glasses on, but because you are a testament to it.
No, and honestly, the funny thing is, so, I'm a nursing leader in Atlanta, so I don't work in Auburn, but every single Auburn nurse that I've ever worked with that has graduated from Auburn, they're a cut above. It's a whole different breed, and I don't know if it's because of the hazing ritual we got put through of Auburn nursing school, but... That
is not actual hazing that's going on, by the way. That is just a figure of speech. Everybody calm down.
It's a joke. But, these are some really... Auburn, they prepare you. That's it. All I can say is you're adequately prepared to go out into the real world.
So if I may stop for a second and ask you a little bit more about why being a nurse is significant to you, not just because there's this epiphany, but you went through something that is very unfortunate in your younger years before you got to college, and losing your dad to cancer. And I think that in and of itself, watching your dad go through that probably helped you make that decision that you wanted to help someone else going through that tough time as well. Is that kind of how I understand it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think I realized that watching, so like Kyle said, obviously my dad had cancer, and we had some hospice nurses that came in towards the end of his life. And watching them, we built a bond with his hospice nurses and his home health nurses. And I didn't realize what a bond and how much impact that would have on me. And even like, they came to his funeral and they kept up with our family for a couple years after. And so I didn't realize the impact that had on my life until after. And then when I did apply for nursing school, I really applied thinking I wanted to be a hospice nurse or an oncology nurse. And then, wow, this feels like therapy, but
You're not the first person to actually say that. Like,
that's hilarious.
I think every guest has said, wow, this was like, I needed this.
It's
to like
cathartic.
Get it all out.
So when I applied, I really thought, okay, I'm going to do oncology. I can really help people. And then when I started in nursing school, Kyle and I had just started dating. And we
# spoilers.
Right. We had been dating a few months, and then Kyle's dad got diagnosed with cancer. And it was kind of that moment that I thought, you know what? I need to step back. I can't do oncology because now at this point in my life, 10 years removed from nursing school almost, I had lost my dad to cancer. I'd lost Kyle's dad to cancer. And I thought, I can still be a really good nurse and I can still really help people. But oncology is not going to be where I need to be right now because I don't think I could have been a great nurse because every day I would have been thinking about my own tragedy and my own sadness. And I thought, nursing is about helping others, not dealing with your personal emotions. And so I still took those majorly impactful moments in my life to become a nurse and to realize that I've got this compassion and this love for people that I can share. But oncology wasn't it. Now, I did my internship in oncology and I absolutely loved it. And then I just, my first job outside of Auburn, it wasn't oncology. There wasn't a job. And I think that was really a blessing. Yeah.
And what's funny about this is, as I've known Jessica throughout the years, she's always said definitive statements like, I'm not going to do this. I'm never going to do this. And I remember to the day where we were when she made this bold statement. And because I said to her, I was like, you should be an emergency nurse because you're just like, go, 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 making quick decisions. And she said, I will never do that. What is she doing?
Famous last words.
I mean, really, 3-4 years later, you are not only in the emergency department.
No, 2 years after that.
But in that amount of time, even you're running or helping assist the management of the emergency room where you work now. And so it's just crazy to watch how definitive you are.
I know.
But at the same time, you're willing to be flexible. You'll let an epiphany take you to Auburn. You'll let an epiphany taking you to the emergency room.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny how, like, my biggest moments, like, what drew me to the emergency department was one of my friends. And again, so, like, all of my life, it's been my friends because I'm not, like I said, I'm not very brave. I get comfortable and I'm happy being comfortable. But people kind of guide me and they're like, Jessica, you would really love the emergency department. And so one day, kind of on a whim, I applied and then I loved it. And then we moved to Atlanta and I was like, I don't want to do anything other than the ER. So I only applied to emergency room jobs and then got a job in the ER. And I was like, well, this works. And then my preceptor, when I came to Atlanta, was an Auburn grad too. So I knew it was meant to be.
Well, there's another sign that you just continue to follow until the very end of time. So who knows what sign's going to come for you next.
The Auburn light, that orange beam just carrying the way.
That's one way to put it.
Hey Auburn fans, I want to take a quick timeout from this episode to bring your attention to something very special. Here at the E2C Network, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best content for Auburn fans out there. And best of all, it's free to you. But just because it's free doesn't mean there aren't costs, especially when you have a library of hundreds of podcasts, videos, blogs, and more. Many of you have reached out and asked how you can support this network in the past. Well, now I have your answer. It's called the E2C Network Booster Club over at patreon.com/E2C Network. There you'll find a membership monthly reward system where you can sign up for as little as $1 and get different perks at different tiers. Some of those perks include things such as apparel, eligibility to join us on future podcasts, recognition as an E2C Network booster, exclusive communications, and bonus content that is available nowhere else. If you love this network and want to help us keep producing podcasts like this one, please head on over to patreon.com/E2C Network to join the E2C Network Booster Club. You can also get there by going to our website, e2cnetwork.com/support. Whether you decide to join or not, we are still so appreciative that you would support us by just listening and being here, because each and every one of you is part of our E2C Network family. Well, that's it. Timeout's over. Let's get back into the episode.
Let's talk a little bit more about this experience at Auburn. We've dove a lot into your education, some personal things that got you to that point, but some of those like later year things, like sports memories and things like that. And, it can go beyond your college experience now, but like, what's some things that you remember from just your time at Auburn that are really important to you?
So for me, my senior year was my brother's freshman year at Auburn, which was really cool. And he is 100% the opposite of me. He is so outgoing and so brave and loves to forge his own path. But while he was there, so we didn't see each other all the time, but I saw him at least once a week, which was really fun. So my last year at Auburn, his first year at Auburn, was the year of the national championship, which was, of course, the best year.
Of course.
So it was just really fun that, we're watching that game that day in January, and, they win. And we all run out to Toomer's Corner, and I didn't even call my brother because I knew he was with his friends, and we just randomly run into him at Toomer's Corner. And it was like, okay, this is a family within a family. And that was that moment when I was like, yep, this is my place. I'm so happy I've been here. I think that senior year football season, even if we hadn't won the national championship, obviously that was the best, and it was so much fun watching Cam Newton. Despite what people think of him now, when he was at Auburn, he was so much fun. That was the year that you and I went on a ton of away game trips. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I pulled that off with nursing school, but we did it. We went to LSU and Kentucky, and I went to Georgia.
Still jealous of that.
And then I went to the SEC championship
Still
game.
jealous of that.
So I got to go to a lot of different schools, and other than LSU, because that was horrible. But every other school, it was just so much fun to be together with all of our friends and just go to all these different schools and have fun. And then, of course, it's even better when you're the away team and you win. And you get to come back happy. So those were a lot of my big memories. Unfortunately, a lot of my memories, as Kyle was saying, we're studying.
A
ton. But I did make two of my best friends, throughout school and, studying. I mean, one night I remember my friend Sarah and I, we stayed awake all night studying for this anatomy test. I think it was anatomy 2 or 3 or something. And we got butcher paper and we drew a whole human, like a life-size
this story
version of this person. And we wrote all the muscles on the wall and studied it that way. And it was, looking back, it was really fun. It was stressful at the time, but it was a lot of fun. I had a little job on campus. My first job was recruiting and calling students. And I ended up actually calling Kyle's brother to recruit him for Auburn. And this was before Kyle and I were dating.
Which you failed in that because he did not go to Auburn.
Well, I got the answering machine, so I could only do what I could do.
That's just true.
It's not my fault that your family wasn't home. But this was before Kyle and I were dating.
They don't ever answer their phone anyway.
That's true.
Shots fired.
I looked at my list for the day as to who I had to call, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's got to trade with me. Somebody's got to trade with me. This is the guy I like's brother. I can't call him. And I was like, what are the odds that I would have to call him? So I did recruiting for a little bit for Auburn, and then I had another little on-campus job working for the IT department, which if anybody knows me, that's the ironic statement of the century because I can barely work an iPhone.
Yeah, when she told me she was going to be working in that department, I said, do what? You're going to be doing what now?
I answered emails.
Hey, you paid your way through college, which is very impressive, so that's, that the fact that you just had a job, and that's not to say that everybody has to have a job. Some people are a little bit more fortunate where they don't have to do that during their time at college, but, I'm always impressed by those that can, because I did that as well.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're in nursing school, studying all the time, literally, I would not see Jessica for weeks.
Well, no, that's not true.
A week, though. A week would go by and I hadn't seen you.
Yeah, nobody had seen me. And so I think that, but I'll tell you, that was really one of those life skills for me. So it really helped me do time management.
Yeah.
Taught me how important it is for me personally to have a schedule and, especially like when there's tests and things coming up, because this was important to me because this is going to be lives that I'm dealing with. I'm not just studying just for the heck of it. Like one day I'll be taking care of patients and, it's people's lives that I'm messing with.
It is a very serious thing that you do, but it's a very rewarding thing
Absolutely.
that I know that you echo, but that I can see it in the way you talk about certain instances even now of that family that really is appreciative of what you did for their individual, whether it ended well or ended poorly. The fact that you were there along the way is what I think is instilled in Auburn nurses, and I think that goes back to the Auburn family aspect of it. We understand that this is bigger than us. This is bigger than, our desires, our wants, our needs, and that you took that into your profession there and the Auburn family kind of aspect of that. If I may tie everything together.
Oh my gosh. Now I'll tell you, there were some dark days, man. I remember one day at clinicals, I was so stressed and I messed up on giving this patient his medications and I hung the medication wrong and our professor was right there. And the medicine spilled all over the floor. And she was kind of exasperated. And she goes, "Jessica, what did you do?" And I just started crying in the patient room. And my professor was nice about it. She was just like, "What the heck, man?
What's going on here?"
Right. And I just started crying. And I was like, "I'll be back."
Just give me a minute. Well, how about this? Let's talk about, we've talked about the national championship year for you, nursing school, you being crazy with your friends, dropping pills all over the floor and things like that. There was something significant that happened in your life.
Was there?
There was this dashing, debonair individual that came walking in one day.
I reckon.
And he just found a way into that cold, introverted heart and just sucked it right out.
I never expected Cam Newton to come into my life that way.
Okay. So why don't you tell, from your perspective, our story
So I'll start with the funny part of our story.
Okay.
So one night I was hanging out with some friends. This was during the summertime at Auburn. So, not a lot of people are there. And we decided we were going to go back to my place, have dinner, and just do a movie night. And it was all girls. And then here comes Kyle coming home from work or something. He was like, "Hey guys, what are y'all doing?" We're like, "We're going to have a girls' night." And he was like, "Can I come?" I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't know Kyle. I'd seen him like a couple times. We'd seen each other like at
Circle
the
of
VCM.
friends,
yeah, but we weren't close at all.
Right.
I didn't even know his number. I didn't know his last name. I just knew he was Kyle. So here comes Kyle to my
and he wasn't
apartment.
bad to look at either.
But you had a girlfriend for the most of the time that I knew you.
That's true.
So I wasn't looking. So here comes Kyle to my apartment for girls' night. So it was fine. It was fun. But can I tell the funny part of the story?
Is it going to make me?
Well, I guess
wish
you can
hadn't?
cut this out if you.
Go ahead. Let's see what happens.
So Kyle's sitting there on my couch, and I can't remember if I'm sitting right beside him or somebody was between us, but Kyle was breathing so loud. And I remember calling my friend the next day, and she was like, "How was girls' night?" And I was telling her, I was like, "Yeah, and this guy Kyle came." And she was like, "Oh, is there a love connection?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. That man breathes loud. I could never date him." And then like a couple months later, Kyle asked me out, and here we are, married and stuff.
And stuff, along the way. Just a few years of this and that. I mean, you kind of brushed over a bunch of that.
Okay,
that stuff
so
there. How did we? We dated for a year and a half before I proposed. And your perspective of how that went down would be interesting to hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
it made such an impact on her.
I'm just trying to think what you would think would be interesting of that.
Well,
I mean, we had a lot of fun, like dating.
I'm talking about the engagement story.
Oh, well, you had to be specific.
Well, I mean, if you got, I remember that, we had a terrible time at LSU, that game.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Where you got punched in the stomach.
By an LSU fan, not by Kyle.
Yes, thank you for the clarification. Thank you for that.
Kyle has never once hit me.
Thank you for being very specific in the times that we're living in right now. How about this? I obviously have my perspective of the engagement story because it involves Auburn, but I want to hear your story and then I will correct it.
Oh, wow. So I was leaving for my internship mid-February of our senior year. So I was doing my internship back home and I was doing my internship in Huntsville, Alabama. And I think you proposed like 2 days before I left or the day before I left. Like it was really soon before I was leaving. And Kyle told me that we were going to to like see the trophy room. I don't know what that place is called.
Because it was right after the national championship.
Yeah. And then we were going to go do a tour of Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I was super excited. And I told my roommate at the time, I was like, I think Kyle's going to propose today. And so she was listening. She already knew he was proposing, but she wouldn't tell me. I was like, I think he's going to propose on the 50-yard line of Jordan-Hare. So I knew we were going to the trophies first, and then we were going to the stadium. So we're in this trophy place, and I'm looking around. I'm like, I really thought he was going to propose this day, but I really thought it was at the stadium. So we're walking around the room, and I'm looking at, Pat Dye and all these people, like their little things.
And a certain other player that you're obsessed with.
Well, Cam Newton. So I was looking at all of, like, his jersey and all his accolades and everything. And Kyle's like, hey, Jessica, look over here at the trophy, the crystal ball looking thing.
The most important trophy we've gotten in the last modern time.
Right. And I was like, no, I've already seen that. Let me look at this Cam Newton stuff. And he's like, Jessica, look over here. And I'm like, no, I'm looking at Cam Newton. And finally he gets my attention and I turn around and he's like down on one knee. And I was like, oh!
Wow, that's the least impressive engagement story when you tell it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just not good at telling stories.
No, you told. It's good to hear it from your perspective. I mean, the only thing that I would add into that is that you made me do my speech twice.
Yeah, because I didn't listen the first time.
Yeah, because you were in shock.
Yeah, because I thought you were proposing at, the stadium.
And, the only other part that I love to always mention is that she thought it was going to happen the night before, which was Valentine's Day, and I completely, on purpose, tricked her.
I don't remember thinking you were going to propose on Valentine's
The
Day.
look on your face when I left your apartment after dinner that night and just walked out, just goodbye. Like, it was priceless to this day. like when I'm having a bad moment, I just think back to your face. And
wow, the face of disappointment. Thanks, Kyle.
look, you and I love each other so much. We're not going to deny that, but we love to mess with each other.
Yes.
And that was one of my proudest moments, to be honest with you. More than any jumping out of the corner and scaring you in our house, that was one of it. So, but yeah, we got engaged and, we got married. We had a little bit of an Auburn.
Well, we did no, not an Auburn wedding. We just did a few little things, like Kyle's groom's cake was obviously
Yeah,
Auburn.
you made me get married during a game.
I did, because it was my birthday and your dad's birthday, and that was symbolic.
If you got to throw that in there, I guess.
And it was September 10th, 2011, which is 9/10/11, which is dang cool. You can't deny that.
And legend says it to this day that it was the Auburn versus Mississippi State game in 2011 where they made the goal line stand against Dak Prescott to win the game right when we said I do. That's what they say to this day.
Who says that?
Somebody in our receiving line said that.
Well, I surprised you, remember, with the inside of your cake being orange and blue. You didn't know that was going to happen.
That was a huge surprise. That was very, very nice of you to do that.
That was cool. And then when we left, instead of like bird seed or firecrackers or whatever people do these days, we did shakers.
Just the typical Auburn thing, shakers and all that. We made our Alabama people chant the Auburn fight song and everything like that. That was pretty satisfying to see my Alabama mom singing that. And,
yeah, that's true. I forget your mom's an Alabama fan. She's so quiet about it.
Yeah, but she, I've always said, Mom, when you're listening to this, I love you so much, but you're the worst kind of Alabama fan because you won't fight back. That's the worst thing in the world. Is like
I thought this was my Auburn story.
I'm sorry.
Let's get back.
I'm done. Okay. So during the time after our wedding, obviously we could go on and on about our first 9 years of marriage, but like in your Auburn story, what stuck out to you since then in terms of like, is it games in your profession or things that you've learned along the way in your Auburn story?
So one of my favorite memories is when I moved to Atlanta and took the job in the ER. Like I said, the person that trained me for my job was an Auburn grad. So one night it was like 7:30. We were leaving work and it was the Auburn-Georgia game. Auburn-Georgia game, and we were leaving work and it was right at the end what year was this, Kyle? You're going to have to help me. Remember when they tipped it off and caught it?
2013.
Thank you. I don't remember
Prayer
years
and Jordan
and stuff.
Hare, come on.
Yes. So we watched Prayer and Jordan-Hare in the trauma room of the ER. So here we are watching this game and we start screaming because we watch it. I mean, we start screaming so loud. We were so happy. There's like 10 people in the room. They called security on us. So here comes security, and we were just watching an Auburn football game.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with you in that one.
So there was that. That was a lot of fun. That's really like my biggest Auburn moment at work. But
you were at the Kick Six. How about that?
Yeah, but I said at work.
Oh, at work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you broke my purse.
I didn't break your purse.
Yes, you did. When we won the kick six.
How did I break
and you
your purse?
jumped down. Remember when you were jumping down to go into the bushes and get on the stadium? You grabbed my purse and you broke it.
No, because I left you, remember?
I know.
I
and
don't-
you broke my purse as you were leaving me.
I did
I
not.
specifically
No.
remember this.
This is therapy session
Yes,
now.
no. You
I
did. You grabbed my shoulder like to say bye.
No, because I couldn't find you. That was so I always told Jessica I'd never gotten to rush the field before. If I ever get the opportunity, I'm going to try to take her with me. But for whatever reason, I can't get a hold of her. I'm going just because I need that experience to happen as fast as it possibly can. And we got dogpiled when Chris Davis rounded the 50-yard line and we realized we'd won the game.
That was the most insane game.
It was incredible. And Jessica's somewhere in this dog pile. I could not find her. And I looked for about 10 seconds and I finally just said, screw it, I'm going. And then I ran. And then luckily...
That's what every wife wants to hear.
But you were with friends, so
Yeah,
I wasn't worried about you. It's not like I abandoned my wife.
You know what else? What other game we forgot to talk about?
What?
The giant rainstorm with the West Virginia game.
That was a fun one.
That was fun. I can't even remember if we were dating then or not.
No, we weren't. I remember for specific reasons we weren't dating.
Okay. Well,
no, but we were interested in each other at that point, I remember.
I don't think so. But anyway, that was a fun
okay,
game.
Apparently not.
I'm just thinking of all the Auburn fun football memories that we had. Yeah, because Kick Six was really good. We went to that LSU game. Remember, we got tickets way up high in the upper deck.
Yeah, it was not the fun one.
No, but it was fun because remember we won at the last second.
Oh, that one. I was like, are we talking about the same LSU game?
No.
That was a fun one.
The one at home, that was fun. So we've been to a lot of games where we've won in the last few seconds, which is super exciting.
Yeah, we've had some good times, and looking forward to many more in our marriage as Auburn couple of the year. All right, I do have our rapid fire questions I want to get to in just a second. No, not yet. I just kind of want to know, we've bounced around a lot about it, but try to tell me what Auburn means to you, the Auburn family. Just, it's hard. It's a very nebulous idea, but just if you had to try to express that to someone, why is it so important to you? Tell us about that.
That's a hard question.
It's the reason I ask it.
So I think for me personally, it's going to be different than what anybody else would say. But the Auburn family answer to me is going to be knowing I can hire a nurse who went to Auburn and know that she'll be well prepared and she'll be a good nurse. And so for me, we have that bond and I've got that same hey, did you have Professor so-and-so? And we've got something to talk about. And, did you go to this football game? Or did you go to Tumors? What's your favorite type of lemonade? Because I'm a strawberry lemonade person. I don't like the regular.
Strawberry all the way.
Yeah. And most people are regular and something's wrong with them. But
I mean, it's still good, but strawberry chunks in your lemonade.
But also, hold on. Did you know that they're making
frozen.
Frozen
Tumors lemonade.
Yeah, that's going to be oh my god.
Well, we'll make a trip. Right? We'll quit. Stop right when we're done. We'll go.
Okay. So I think for me, that's what the Auburn family is. It's knowing that there's people out there that I can trust because the world is really big and you can't always trust people and you don't always know that they're looking out for each other. But if I see somebody that went to Auburn, I'm like, hey, you're good people.
That's a great way to look at it because I think the common bond we share, when we look to the Auburn Creed, we know that we try our best. We're not perfect to embody the creed in that way. And if you associate yourself with that at least tells me that you're trying to be a good person and a good person in life, a good person in your career, and how you treat people, and how you believe all these things. That means that you believe in Auburn. So let's talk about some not so rapid fire questions. The reason I say not so rapid fire because people usually want to explain themselves.
Oh gosh, I'm not an explainer. Okay.
Well, that's what most people have said, and then they're like, I need to justify this answer or something. Okay. All right, so I've got 12 questions for you.
Lord, okay, I'm ready.
To get to know your Auburn perspectives.
Okay, this will be fun.
All right, so your first question is orange or blue?
Blue.
Why? You were so definitive with that.
Blue is a calming color. Blue is the color of relaxation.
But you're not calm.
I know, but I want to be calm.
I couldn't agree with that one more, actually. That's probably why I'm an orange person most of the time because
you are so orange.
Apparently that's a bad thing the way she said it. Question number 2, Aubie or War Eagle?
Oh, well, this is easy because I'm terrified of birds, so Aubie.
I remember going to the baseball game with you and you saw Aubie off in the distance And like you like made it clear to me that if I did not get a picture with you with Aubie that night, that I had failed as boyfriend.
That's true. I literally met Aubie one time in my whole Auburn career, and that just breaks my heart, and it is so sad to me. So that one picture means a lot to me.
So what's the? I mean, I get the bird angle of it. You don't like birds, but what's so special about Aubie? I'm not. Look, Aubie, I love
cool.
you. I'm just saying.
He is
what's
just
the
like
deal?
he does dances. He changes clothes. He's cool.
An eagle soars. It kills
It
things.
also exactly. It kills things. Its talons will pluck your eyeballs out. It will peck your ears. You will die.
Well, all right then. Question number 3. You have to choose between the Auburn fight song or Glory, Glory to Old Auburn.
Oh, Auburn fight song. All the way. It's original. It's not stolen from Georgia or Georgia stole from us. I know. I'm just saying.
Well,
don't get into a political debate. Anyway.
How's that political?
I don't know. I like the Auburn fight song.
But like, it's we all stole it from the battle hymn,
right.
Thing. Like that's our version of it. But I think someone one day is going to choose that one over the fight song because there's something about that.
I mean, it's fun. It's cool. But
fine,
no.
You do what you want. But I love the fight song.
These are my questions.
You're all right. So these are your answers.
Have you had to argue with any of your other guests?
No, but you're my wife, so I automatically argue no matter what.
Cool.
Question number 4: your favorite Auburn athletics program?
That's mean. Wow. So I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go track and field.
Why?
Because it's an underdog. So obviously I ran cross country and track and field in high school, got injured, was never good enough either to do it on a collegiate level. I was trash, but I enjoyed it.
But you're a lot better than me.
Well, that's not saying much. But track and field is so exciting. There's a sport for everybody within the sport. So track and field, you've got jumping and running and throwing and launching yourself over things. Like, there are just sports within the sport, and it doesn't get enough love. And it is just such an incredible sport. And it's what everybody loves to watch on the Olympics, but nobody loves to watch it in college. And that ticks me off. And everybody needs to support the track and field and cross country people.
I went to my first Auburn track and field meet because of you.
And it's so much fun, isn't it?
It is a lot of fun.
It is like so exciting. And I mean, I love football. But football's like really great, and then there's like a lull, and then the other team has the ball. No. Track and field, you've always got people out there, over here they're doing the long jump, and over here they're high jumping, and then there's people launching themselves over the pole vault, and then you got hurdles, and like, there are 100 different things to watch. It is so exciting.
You're not excited about that whatsoever.
So track and field, that's my answer.
Number 5, your favorite Auburn athlete.
Don't hate me.
Why would I hate you?
I'm going to pick Cam Newton.
Look, you were wanting him to show up at your proposal, not me. Let's just go ahead and say it.
I would not have been mad. I still would have said yes to you. Oh, do you remember we forgot to say at the proposal Trooper Taylor was there?
Was he?
No, that was a different night. Never mind.
You really remember our
engagement
story so well.
I know. I have such a good memory.
You and I did meet Trooper Taylor, but it was at the
reverse Tiger Walk.
It was, yeah.
But I still have a picture with him, and that was super exciting.
Apparently more exciting than your engagement night. But
I'm still married to you. I'm not married to Trooper Taylor.
Well, some days just, it hurts my heart a little bit. Question number 6, your favorite Auburn coach. Current, past, future.
Honestly, since I wasn't an Auburn fan, I'm not huge into sports. I'm going to say it. I'm going to go with Gene Chizik. He got us the championship, regardless of what people think of him now. Well,
I think people think he's a great person. I just don't think they thought he was a great coach in the end of it.
Well, and you know what? That's fair. That's everybody's entitled to their opinion.
They're
but
wrong.
He was... No, I'm not even saying they're wrong.
I thought
because
you were about
I think... Well, you know what? I'm changing my answer. I'm going with Rhett Lashley.
Okay. Explain why, and then I'm gonna try one more to see if you disagree with that should be yours.
So I don't actually know how good Rhett is as a coach.
Great coach, actually.
I thought so too, but I don't know a lot about football. But I really like him in his personal life, and I really like his wife on Instagram, and their kids are dang cute. So Rhett Lashley with a close Trooper Taylor is second.
What about Tommy Tuberville?
Oh, dang it!
See?
But I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that I like out there. I like them all.
All right, you got to pick one out of those because you really bounced around. You had to pick one of those.
Trooper Taylor.
Okay, I like that. You were a big Trooper Taylor fan. I was too.
I thought he was so fun. He was so peppy.
Very approachable.
Oh yeah, super duper nice.
Well, that's a great pick because we haven't had someone pick that one yet.
That's good job, Jessica.
Congratulating yourself. Question number 7, I believe.
Wait, I thought we were on 6.
Did I? No, we're on 7 now.
What was 5?
5 was your...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hey, why don't you let the host handle this over here?
Sometimes I don't think you do a good job. No, I'm teasing.
Wow. Question number 7. Your
Okay.
favorite non-athletics person, celebrity, someone who is you associate with Auburn that is not like an athlete or a coach. Who is that favorite person? There is a correct answer here. There is. No, seriously,
So-
like if you had to pick somebody, this is my Auburn person outside of sports.
This is such a lame answer, and I know it's lame, and I know I'm such a dweeb, but I'm going to go with one of my professors from nursing school.
Why is that? That's actually a great answer.
Okay, so Dr. Parker, I don't even know that she's still there. She was there a few years ago, but she may be retired now. She was such a big mentor to me. She is like the nursing leader that I strive to be. She actually taught my nursing leadership class at Auburn. She was so approachable. I ended up dog sitting for her a few times. She really helped me with some kind of ethical debates that I had within school. She just was just a really nice person, Auburn or not. But she was like big into Auburn football, obviously went to all the games, had season tickets. But yeah, Dr. Parker.
It's a great answer. I think a lot of times people like feel bad if they don't give like some athletics or something
Well, you said
related.
non-athlete.
Well, related to athletics. Like I know this super fan, and they're like, I want to be like them. But like, it's the people that made this biggest impact in your life. I had
Yep.
hoped that was going to be me, but apparently not.
No, it's not that it's not you. It's that you are the obvious answer, and I need to give something a little different.
I am very happy to hear that you have someone else that influenced your life in that Auburn way.
Let me use the millennial term of, she was my mentor.
I didn't think that was a millennial term.
Oh, that is such a millennial term.
Apparently, there goes the rest of our millennial audience out there. Question number 8. Your favorite Auburn building,
Ooh. I'm going to go with the BCM.
even though it doesn't exist anymore.
Even though it doesn't. So I really want to say Miller Hall, but that would be a lie because I hated that building because that's where nursing school is, and that place was really hard. But I did make a lot of my best friends there. But the BCM is where I met you.
Oh, that's just you trying to redeem yourself.
I
for
am.
those. So yeah,
And I met my college roommate there, like my second roommate.
We had some fun times.
My best friends, like everything that was fun about college was because of the BCM.
I'd be hard pressed to find some other choices. I do have some whenever I eventually tell my story, but the BCM is a very special place, and hopefully it'll be back at its old location if they ever do the construction over there.
Yeah.
But
It's
a great-
coronavirus.
it's a great community, even if you're not a Christian. It's a
Exactly.
great group of people to come hang out. I mean,
Yep.
it is like the one place where, and I don't want to get into like religious debates or anything, but like an atheist regularly came and hung out with us because he didn't feel judged. But because he just liked hanging out with us. Like that was like the coolest statement of faith, I guess,
Yeah.
for that community of people there. Question number 9. This is a tough one for you, I bet. Favorite Auburn place to eat?
Pita Pit.
I meant that at all sarcastic. You and
I
your pita pit.
love Pita Pit, and nobody loves Pita Pit like I love Pita Pit. So I'd only eat it like once a month, once every 2 months, but
But then, do you really love pita pit?
I do because I only want to go if I can go with somebody.
Is
like
it even there anymore? I can't
I
remember.
doubt it. But it was the bomb. It was like this dirty little hole in the wall place. I mean, Mama G's
think
is
it
a
is.
close second, but Pita Pit is the underdog of the century. That place, ooh, take all my money.
Question number 10.
Okay.
Your favorite Auburn tradition that can be sports or non-sports, but a tradition that means the most to you at Auburn.
This is going to shock you.
In a real way or a fake
I
way?
don't know. The eagle.
So the flight of the eagle.
The flight of the eagle is my favorite because it is so, like I said, I hate birds, terrified of birds, think they're the spawn of Satan, but
Wow.
I do believe that they're majestic and beautiful. So even though they are the spawn of Satan,
There's so many things I want to say about that statement, but
I know, just leave it.
okay.
But it is so unique. It's kind of like that. What's that school? It's probably somewhere out in Texas that they got some like bull or something that runs on the thing.
Texas.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
something. Probably have a
Longhorns.
longhorn.
Yeah.
They run
Evo.
on the- Okay, that thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think it's really unique that Auburn has the flight of the eagle, and I love it, even though it tried to kill me one game, but we're not going to get into that.
It did not come for you.
It did! It smelled my fear!
Well, then don't have any fear of it.
Okay.
Question number 11. Let's get
Yeah.
a little bit deeper and a little bit more personal. Your favorite Auburn memory.
Well, obviously, I'm going to go with the proposal.
If you have another one other than that, that can be your favorite one as well.
I
This
don't
is
think I
your
have
story,
another
not
one.
mine.
I honestly don't think, like, that would be my favorite, probably, Auburn memory. I thought that was really cool that we got engaged at Auburn because that was where we met. Our families came. You
Yeah.
surprised me with that. And we got married the year of the national championship, which was really cool. And I know it was more important to you than me, but that was cool.
My answer might be a little different, but we'll save that for another day. It involves you, though, no matter what.
Oh, great.
All right. This is your last question.
Good.
Maybe it's easy. Maybe it'll be hard. We'll know. Describe Auburn for me in one word.
Well, I feel like people are going to go with the mushy gushy family.
But there's nothing wrong with that if that's what it means.
No, you should have given me time to prep on this one.
No, I want...
Describe Auburn in one word.
I want your off-the-cuff answer, which is, it's not really off the cuff at this point, but...
I'm going to go with... Dang. This is hard, Kyle.
I think it speaks to the testament that it's hard to describe.
You can't describe it in one word. I guess I'm just going to go with the cheesy love.
I can deal with that.
So, and I say that because, like, I know that Auburn is a family and that we love each other as Auburn people. Whether you're an Auburn grad or just an Auburn fan, whatever. We love each other as a people group. But I love going there to the place. I love watching the sports.
Mm-hmm.
I love, and I have pride knowing that my degree is from Auburn, knowing that, my favorite things in life came because of Auburn, you and my career and my passion.
And she rounded it all, hitting the home run at the end to wrap it all up right there. I think love's a great way to describe it, whether it's because of the love you have for the school or the love that you experienced there while you're there.
Or the love that I have because I went to the school, because I met you.
Exactly. So I think it's a great way to wrap up your story. It was one of, and it is one still to this day, and we'll continue to grow. Those roots will take shape and keep spreading out there, if I may tie everything together in an Auburn Roots fashion. But you have an amazing story of being someone that cares so much for people that you would sacrifice your time, your sanity as a nurse. You went through nursing school. You sacrificed your probably sanity by marrying me.
Oh, yeah.
But you are a special member of the Auburn family and obviously a special person to me. So thank you so much for telling your Auburn Roots.
I'm glad I could be number 10 on your show.
And she rounded it off in perfect Jessica fashion.
In real life, 10 is probably a good number. That's the day that I was born, was the 10th.
Here I was trying to give you like a nice special number so that people could always just say, oh, where's Jessica's episode number? Oh, episode 10. She's the first, of the 10s, she's that special.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And I have failed. So anyway, before that hole gets even deeper, thank you all so much for listening to Jessica's story. We're going to have other opportunities out there for anyone to share their Auburn roots that they would like to. Jessica, thank you so much for being a member of the Auburn family and sharing your roots.
Well, War Eagle to that.
And War Eagle to you as well.
Before you get out of here, we want to remind you of a couple things. Head over to e2cnetwork.com, our website where you can find everything that you'll ever need from us, podcasts, blogs, and even ways to help support the show. If you want to find individual episodes, you can download all of these on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So until we see you again, I want to remind you of one thing, that here at the network, we believe in Auburn and love it. The only question remains, do you?